I am Nur Alisha and I'll be explaining the introduction and implementation of life cycle costing. So, what is life cycle costing? Life cycle costing is a method of economic analysis for all costs related to products and services throughout the entire life cycle. Traditionally, it takes into account mainly investment, operation, maintenance, and end of life disposal costs. Life cycle costing is a system that tracks and accumulates the actual costs and revenues attributable to cost objects from its invention to its abandonment. Life cycle costing involves tracing costs and revenues on a product by product base over several calendar periods. The next one is implementation. So, how do we implement life cycle costing? We need to conduct a structured cost analysis that clearly identifies which cost sources most influence the overall cost. The main usefulness of life cycle cost is at the time of the evaluation of alternative solutions to certain design problems. For example, an option may be available for the roof of a new project. So, it is necessary to review not only the initial cost, but also the cost of maintenance and repair, service life plan, appearance, and things that might affect the value as a result from the available options. Based on the article that has been stated by Cumming in 2017, there are some projects that has implemented life cycle costing. So the first one is the project Rukan Bahu Mall Manado in Indonesia. In this study, the life cycle costing was applied for 20 years. This study used a life cycle analysis of the actual cost, which is life cycle cost calculation that is based on the building materials. The second one is diamond building in Malaysia. The cost category contained is the initial cost, operational and maintenance costs, energy costs, and replacement costs. So based on the studies, it can also be seen that the changes in interest rates are not sensitive to change of the life cycle costs.
I am Ain Adiba and I will present about the benefits from implementing the life cycle costing. By using life cycle costing, we can identify the cost drivers because life cycle costing include all costs from all life cycle stages. From there, we can always choose the best alternative to reduce costs. While using life cycle costing, we can determine which product or alternative that can give us benefits for a long-term period. It may be a little bit pricey at the beginning of the phase, but with a better product use, it will lower the maintenance cost. Thus, the cost will be lower than using the product which is lower price but with a higher maintenance cost. Furthermore, life cycle costing can also improve the decision relevant information. Since life cycle costing consider the upfront and follow-up costs, it will able to improve the availability and cognition of the information, and it will also improve the decision-making quality and the actual results. The example of upfront cost is the research and development cost, while the follow-up costs are the warranty and guarantee costs. The level of research and development investment can influence production costs during the manufacturing phase. So, in this article, they said that this is the most important upfront cost for the company to consider. Lastly, the implementation of life cycle costing can make the company achieve their cost management goals better than the company that do not implement the life cycle costing. There are two types of cost management goals, which are cognition-related and result-oriented. The cognition-related management goals basically occur at the product design phase. The company may benefit from the implementation of life cycle costing by strengthening cost awareness, improving the identification of cost drivers, and enhancing cost transparency. For result-oriented cost management goals, the implementation of life cycle costing would lead to the performance-relevant optimization. Life cycle costing will focus on the consequences of the product design stage in terms of the direct cost and the follow-up cost. It will lead to the reduced over-engineering. Over-engineering is the process on designing a product to be insufficient with the presence of the features that are unnecessary. for its intended use. So, by using the life cycle costing method, the management can reduce the cost on producing the lower performance product and focus more on producing a better product with a better cost.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. My name is Mirul Asni Zulfa Rushdi and I will be presenting about the challenges of life cycle costing. The first one is uncertainty impacts in the cost estimation process during the design and building tender stage. This often involves the defense industry, where most of the uncertainty is centered around legal stage and has to do with service, maintenance and repairs. Uncertainty of the disposal cost, despite the fact that large inherent uncertainties exist. For example, the quality of return products, cost of dismantling, and profits. There was a research findings in 2008 about the future trends of cost engineering. Uncertainty is dealt with through a variety of qualitative and quantitative models, such as complex probabilistic models and artificial intelligence. Okay, the second one is the selection of suitable discount rate. The life cycle costs are discounted to their present value. Thus, the selection of suitable discount rate is important. A high discount rate will tend to favor options with low capital cost, short life, and high recurring costs, while a low discount rate will have the opposite effect. The discount rate will reflect the effect of only the real earning power of money invested over time, or it may also reflect the effects of inflation. Okay, the appropriate discount rate will vary according to the organization and will need to be determined by the skill of the industrial accountant rather than by mere arbitrary selection. Okay, the third one is lack of engagement to the cost data inputs and outputs in the life cycle cost. They tend to focus on the theory only. Okay, most of the building owners and consultants in the Malaysian construction industries are unaware on the life cycle cost concept and practice. According to Noor and If 2010, the advance of life cycle cost in Malaysia in development is still at the beginning phase compared to the developed countries, for example, Australia, Singapore, and United Kingdom. Okay, in general, lack of understanding of life cycle costing among the practitioners in the construction industry led to the poor perception of life cycle costing benefits. There is no fixed or standard framework and guideline used to collect and compile all the important cost data. The changing costs in the operation and maintenance during the process of construction are not easy to identify and evaluate. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Sumaya Balkis and now I will be explaining about the issues of application of life cycle costing. First of all, you guys need to know that there are so many issues or problems in applying life cycle costing in every industry. But today, I would like to talk about the issues of applying life cycle costing in the construction industries, where, according to the article that has been stated by Asaf et al. 2002, there are several issues of applying life cycle costing in the construction project, where it can be divided into two major categories, which are knowledge issues as well as data issues. Okay, now, what are the issues related to knowledge? Okay, firstly, there are lack of knowledge of the life cycle costing concept, where many clients are unaware of the technique of life cycle costing and how it could help them to make a better investment decision. Next one is the unfamiliarity with the design to cost concept. It means that they are unfamiliar that the building selection and design system will be based on the total cost of the building along its life cycle. Next, there is an unknown relationship exists between initial cost and future cost, as some decision makers concentrate on the initial cost of the product or building and are not concerned with the future running costs. This is due to the pressure on management to improve short-term gains. In fact, in most cases, initial cost is not the largest single cost and it is under 50% of the total ownership cost of the project. The last one under the knowledge issues is unavailability of enough references. This is because of the shortage of technical papers published on the subject of life cycle costing. This will lead the concept of life cycle costing to not be well known to most decision makers in the construction industries. The next issues are regarding the data. For your information, life cycle costing is heavily dependent on data, which in this case, the data used should be for construction projects that have been completed and should include all types of data such as cost, performance, occupancy, and general descriptions information. So, this means that too much data is needed. Therefore, while collecting and analyzing data of the life cycle costing, the designer will face many issues, including the unavailability of capital cost data. This includes all data associated with development of a facility and includes data related to fees, site, and other construction costs. Secondly, unavailability of maintenance data, which includes all data related to maintenance of a facility in use and includes data for regular repairs, predictive maintenance, and annual maintenance contracts. The third issues are unavailability of operation data. This includes all data associated with the operating facility, such as fuel, salaries of operators, and energy costs. Next is the unavailability of time life data. Means data unavailable in terms of an item's life or expected times for replacement. The next issues is that when large volume of data are needed, the volume of data that must be filtered in life cycle costing in order to obtain information is too huge, where the information derived from this data is used as input for making an equally large number of decisions. The last issues in application of life cycle costing in terms of data problem is that there are no standard method for collecting and recording data. This is because the usual collection of data that was done by a client is for an accounting purpose, which it could not be used in life cycle costing calculations. That's all from me. Thank you. To conclude, despite of all of the challenges and issues faced in order to apply life cycle costing, investors that use life cycle costing as a decision support in the early stages will help them to confront all of the difficulties. Other than that, life cycle costing may be performed as part of feasibility studies to find the most cost-efficient solution. Therefore, it is really recommended to be used, especially for a long-term period, as it is very comprehensive for cost accounting. That's all from our group. Thank you.